It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm your host for the day, Jake Schaff, going over all of the biggest news and events from right here in the greater West Bloomfield area. Lots of big stuff to get into, starting off with construction that's currently moving forward on a brand new restaurant in Orchard Lake. Here to tell us more live out on the scene is our very own Kevin McIntosh to give us all the details. Kevin, what's going on?
Thank you, Jake. I'm out here in Orchard Lake, freezing cold, but I'm right here on Orchard Lake, just south of Pontiac Trail, where we at the site of a new restaurant set to open real soon in a former location of Village Palace. We did recently have a chance to speak with the business owner, Lenore Lukai, who actually gave us a little bit more information on what we are expecting right here in Orchard Lake. First off, saying that the new restaurant will specialize in American cuisine with fine dining also. So that's just expecting some steak, some lobster, seafood, fine pasta, things of that nature. And it will be accompanied with some fine wine and other spirits as well. That'll also be served at the restaurant. I'm also being told that the location will also serve as a banquet center with seating up to 120 guests and even outdoor seating available during those warmer times of the year as well. Now, with all of that information received, we have note that there's no official name yet for the new restaurant, but it is going to be worked on. As soon as we find out information, we will relay that. But as far as the opening of it, the tentative date is not officially set, but they're aiming for the spring of 2025 with a month of May being specific aim as of right now. And that's pretty much all the details that we have live on Orchard Lake Road in Orchard Lake, Jake.
All right, thank you for that, Kevin. Telling me all that stuff, you're making me hungry, and I can see that work is still being done in the restaurant right now, right behind you. So big thank you for all that, Kevin, and for getting that information. But some great things to look forward to in Orchard Lake with that brand new restaurant. Other news to get into, we have some big news from Oakland County, a big pledge for an integrated care center. Oakland County Executive Dave Coulter today announced a $3 million pledge from the Penske Family Foundation to support the county's integrated care center in Pontiac. This significant contribution will enhance access to critical mental health resources and wrap-around services regardless of their ability to pay. The press release went on to say, Coulter saying that the mental health crisis facing our community demands comprehensive action. This clinic represents our commitment to ensuring that no resident or first responder is left behind when it comes to accessing the care that they need. The Penske Family Foundation's generous support will help us expand services and meet the growing need for immediate and integrated care. The permanent facility is expected to open in February of next year, 2025, and will be located at the former Sarah J. Weber Media Arts Academy on Woodward Avenue. The clinic, currently operating in a temporary location in downtown Pontiac, is led by Honor Community Health in partnership with Oakland County, Oakland Community Health Network, Oakland Livingston Human Services Agency, and Trinity Health. So big news for Oakland County and some big resources to benefit the entire county. So great to hear that from Dave Coulter, and great to hear of all of these benefits for Oakland County. Big accomplishments for the West Bloomfield robotics team just happened recently. The West Bloomfield High School robotics team just completed their fall Oakland County competitive robotics season. You can see some photos on our screen right now if you're watching on Civic Center TV. But the team won a Judges Award for community outreach, and they shined on the field with their simple, elegant robots that improved over the competition season. It's always so fascinating to hear about these great designs and these great accomplishments with the robotics team. Definitely things I couldn't do. So it's fascinating to see what these incredible kids are capable to do with the help of the entire team. So big congratulations to the robotics team. And if you want to see the photos for yourself, if you're not watching on Civic Center TV, you can check them out on Facebook at West Bloomfield Schools to see the photos firsthand. But a big congratulations to the West Bloomfield High School Abomagators. Winter is underway, but West Bloomfield Parks is looking ahead for the next few months. There's no more wait as winter registration is now open for multiple upcoming events. You can go to wbparks.org/activity-guide to check out the exciting offerings for this upcoming season, including the Egg Scramble, the Daddy-Daughter Dinner Dances, the Earth Day Celebration, the St. Patrick's Day Lunch, the Stuffed Animal Sleepover, the Poabic Pottery Tile Making Workshop, and plenty more. All of these great and exciting events coming up very, very soon with the help of WB Parks. Please note that they have launched a new registration system, and if you experience any difficulties, you can call 248-451-1900 for assistance. Please be patient as they may be experiencing a bit of an increased call volume right now as this information has just been released. But a lot of great stuff to look forward to with West Bloomfield Parks, and I'm sure the community is going to love everything that's coming their way. Younger people in our community are also taking on leadership roles, even those that put them face to face with some of the big decision makers of our community. We have a great package to show you involving the student liaisons to hear more about their position with the West Bloomfield School District.
It was an opportunity that was presented to me through my school student government, and having done that since freshman year, it was something that intrigued me. I asked my advisor about the opportunity. She said that it would be something that maybe I should try out for, and once I interviewed for it and I looked into the position, it's something that I genuinely love, giving back kind of to the community and talking about what we get to do at West Bloomfield and presenting that information to the board is such a valuable role to me, and I'm really excited to be doing it.
I've always been involved in many clubs, and I'm on the board of multiple clubs, so I thought it would be a great opportunity to get to tell the board about what the clubs are doing and really show what OEC does to keep the students involved. It's great because I get to talk to other people in the school and ask them, like, what have you guys been doing? They send me pictures, and it really just helps me get to know the other students and share the amazing things OEC does.
How does it feel to be a big voice representing the student body?
It's definitely a lot to handle. It's big shoes to fill, but I hope that I'm doing a good job, and I just really want to be able to shed light on all the different activities that are going on at West Bloomfield, because we got a lot of things that maybe aren't as talked about or that could be highlighted more, and I just really like to prioritize those things when I'm giving my presentation.
What are some of the biggest qualities you've taken away from your role?
I think the biggest thing is communication, which I think that's kind of cliche, but I think communication is integral to any type of situation, especially in work, and having those communication skills, especially between the different advisors of clubs and the students that are in those clubs, and then all the way to the administration and getting that information along has been a really valuable skill for me.
Do you think this is going to set you up really nicely for when you eventually make the jump to college?
Yes, I think especially at OEC, where we are taking college classes at the same time as high school classes, not only are we able to kind of tell like what the college workload is, but we're set up to manage our time and become more responsible, which a lot of people struggle with right when they enter college, but at OEC we kind of have a step to prepare us for that.
What would you have to say to people who might be interested in trying out this position for themselves?
Absolutely go for it. It might sound boring at first. It did when I first looked into it, but genuinely it is one of the most fun, amazing things to be able to collaborate with so many people in the community and to have this experience every month at the board. It's such a great professional opportunity as well as a learning opportunity for anyone who's interested.
That's so cool that they get to work so closely with the educators of our community and to help make things so much better for the students and to make sure that they have a voice as well. So big thank you to both of the student liaisons for their time and learning about their position. As we may have seen in the last few days, the snow has started to come here in the community, but that can also mean a lot of danger to be present on the roads as winter starts to creep in a bit more, and ice and snow will become a bigger and bigger factor. Here with tips on how to stay safe on the roads as the weather starts to change, we have the Senior Communications Manager for the Road Commission of Oakland County, Craig Bryson, joining us today on The Splash. Craig, good morning.
Good morning.
glad to have you with us as always, and really interested to get into this conversation because we have started to see the snow starting to fall. And what should people start to be looking out for now that this is becoming a factor once again?
Well, first and foremost, I would monitor your weather forecast so you know what's happening, what's likely to happen, when it's going to happen, and then if and when the snow comes, by all means, slow down. Don't drive as fast as you normally would. Even when we're out salting, plowing, there's the potential for slippery, icy conditions, and even whiteout conditions, as we saw over the Thanksgiving holiday. So please slow down for your own safety and for the safety of those on the road around you.
That's absolutely right. I mean, weather can be chaotic anywhere in the United States, and Michigan is certainly no exception, especially when it comes to snow. So what are some of the biggest dangers that might be present as these big snowstorms start to become more common?
Well, when we get the heavy snow, and we have things like whiteout conditions or just very heavy snow, we will be out with all available trucks. But frankly, if we had twice as many trucks as we have, we wouldn't be able to have every inch of road cleared, plowed, salted at every moment. So despite, the best efforts and intentions of the Road Commission, there are going to be situations where the roads are not ideal. And drivers, it's incumbent upon drivers to please drive appropriately for those conditions. Increase the space between you and other vehicles in the front, slow down, be extremely cautious, give yourself more space to turn, to switch lanes, that kind of thing. Really, caution, I can't emphasize that enough. Caution is really important during those conditions.
Caution is key, absolutely. And I'm glad that you started talking about what the Road Commission is doing around this time of year. And I'm curious, what are some of the biggest obstacles that you guys tend to face around the winter season?
Well, the biggest one really is the forecasting. Forecasting is as much an art as it is a science. Even though we have meteorologists, with advanced degrees, they're able to study the weather. But even their best forecasts are not always accurate. And there are times when we get a forecast for a big storm that doesn't materialize and we're out doing nothing. There are other times when we get no advance warning that there's going to be a big storm and we have to play catch up. Those are the more challenging situations. If we are not expecting snow, we can't be out on the road preparing for it. We monitor multiple forecasting services. We have our own paid services. We monitor the local media sources. But again, they're not always completely accurate. Storms can change directions at the drop of a hat. They can develop at the drop of a hat, and we'll respond as quickly as we can. But if we have to call in drivers from home, there can be an hour or more delay between the point where we call those drivers in, they get to the garage, get in their truck, get their truck loaded up with salt, and get out on the road. So again, caution on the part of the drivers is really critical this time of year.
For those just joining us on the Splash Live, we have Senior Communications Manager for the Road Commission of Oakland County, Craig Bryson, joining us on the Splash to talk about some things to watch out for on the roads as we start to see a bit more snowfall, a bit more ice, and many more factors that could come into play, and the importance of keeping yourself safe. And Craig, I want to talk about maybe, and maybe you could explain this a bit more, what are some big areas around the West Bloomfield area that people might need to be looking out for more specifically?
Well, the first areas often to freeze or to become slippery are the bridges and overpasses. So anytime you're crossing a bridge or an overpass, and there's not too many overpasses in West Bloomfield, but there are certainly some bridges. Be cautious about those. When you have cold air underneath the road, that'll certainly cause the road temperature to drop more quickly and areas to freeze. Of course, hills and curves are always tricky, and we try to give those added attention. But again, things can materialize quickly. So use extreme caution if you're coming down a hill in potentially icy conditions. If there's a stop at the bottom of the hill, that can be a very difficult situation. So, again, slowing down as much as possible is critical in those situations. Because of our priority system, which is based on safety, we're going to be focusing first on the busiest roads. So the less traveled roads may be a little bit more likely to have a snow accumulation on them at times. and that may make them a little bit more slippery. So, the lower the traffic volume, the more caution you really need to apply on those roads as well.
Okay, definitely a lot of great things to watch out for as these things start to become more of a factor. And you talked about a bit more how you guys are working to minimize a lot of these issues. What are some ways you're doing so that maybe the general public might not be as aware of?
Yeah, great question. So we've introduced a lot of new techniques over the last decade or so. Now, almost all of our trucks, I think all of them actually have liquid brine tanks on the trucks. So liquid brine is naturally occurring salt water that we pump out of the ground. We literally spray that on the rock salt as it comes out of the back of the truck. That causes the rock salt to activate more quickly, causes it to stick to the pavement more quickly, and speeds the process of melting the snow and ice, as well as reducing the amount of salt we need to use, which is better for the environment. We've also added wing plows to our trucks. Those are the plows that swing out from the side, allowing us to plow a lane and a half at one time. Our newest trucks now have wings on both sides, so we could actually theoretically plow almost 2 full lanes at once. They are also great for plowing the shoulder as well as a through lane at once. We're also doing what's called pre-treating, where we spray the liquid brine on a dry road before the snow has started, and that creates a layer of brine on the road. So when the snow and ice does begin to fall, it mixes with that brine, and that delays the formation of ice, kind of buys us some time in that process.
Wow.
Now, we'll only do that when there's not rain prior to the snow event, because the rain would just wash it off the road. But it's a great way to delay the formation of ice on the roads.
Wow, that's all very, very fascinating. Definitely some factors that I wasn't aware of, and that's really interesting to hear what you guys are doing or what you will be doing this winter season to help protect those roads. And Craig, I also want to ask, are there any factors or incidents that come to mind that serve as a big warning to the community for really what to watch out for during the winter season?
Yeah, unfortunately, every year we have a motorist or two or a couple that will run into the back of our truck. We really, really want to caution people to back off. State law now requires that you follow a truck no closer than 200 feet. That's about 16 parking spaces behind the truck. And again, the reason for that is when a car or passenger vehicle runs into the back of a 12-ton steel truck, it's not good for the passenger vehicle. We often see cars totaled, sadly, some injuries. It doesn't affect our trucks very much because, again, they're solid steel, but it's not good for the motorists. And those trucks tend to go more slowly than passenger vehicles, and they take more space to turn and to stop. So please give them the room for your own safety, as well as to allow them to make the roads safe for the rest of us.
That's certainly right. And Craig, we appreciate all of your time and for telling us this information and for giving us a good insight on what to watch out for this season. Before we let you go, where can people go to learn a little more information on what to look out for and maybe some updates on what to watch out for as the weather starts to become a bit rougher?
Absolutely. First, you can go to our website, which is www.rcocweb.org, rcocweb.org. Please follow us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram. We'll post things on there as they're happening, let people know when our trucks are out or if there's problem areas, that type of thing. Those are the best sources to get information directly from the Road Commission.
All right, you heard it here first. That's the website, and that's where to go. Craig Bryson with the Oakland County Road Commission, we thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity.
Always glad to have you on, and always great to hear this information. Definitely some things to watch out for this winter season as the roads start to become a bit more problematic, and good things to look out for. Firefighters are being helped through the Yellow Rose campaign right here in West Bloomfield. The West Bloomfield Fire Department Peer Support Team is being used as a resource for firefighters by firefighters. And here to tell us more about this program, we have Fire Chief Greg Flynn from the West Bloomfield Fire Department joining us on The Splash. Greg, glad to have you with us.
Good morning.
Really happy to have you with us and really interested in hearing about the Yellow Rose campaign. What can you tell us about it?
Well, the Yellow Rose campaign is just that, very specifically named as a campaign, meaning this long approach to a problem, issues that have been really plaguing, if you will, communities for decades. You know, the thought of self-harm or death by suicide is and has been the 10th leading cause of death, Jake, in the United States for a very long time. And bringing this awareness not only to the fire service as a profession, but in particular also sharing that with our community and outwardly discussing and removing the stigma associated with overall mental health issues and really promoting emotional wellness is what the Yellow Rose campaign is all about. It's about bringing attention to that, influencing attitudes, and encouraging leadership to make workplace environments that are conducive to reducing and eliminating the stigma associated with firefighters and employees seeking emotional help and guidance from mental health professionals.
That's absolutely right. It's always important to reach out for help if you are in need of some. So, Greg, how long has West Bloomfield Fire Department been working with the Yellow Rose campaign?
Well, our own experience of loss through death by suicide with Lieutenant Jeff Hiltner in 2016 was a motivating factor for our involvement with the program. Really, I should say the involvement with the program, the genesis of the program, the campaign. And you know, that like so many lived experiences that people have had, because it's the 10th leading cause of death, there's so many people in our community that have experienced this through the loss of a family member or a very close friend, member of the community. But the discussions that circle that are often very uncomfortable when the focus is on how someone dies. And what the Yellow Rose campaign is focused on is removing the how someone dies and normalizing the conversation about loss and that postvention, those that live on, and understanding how to prevent death by suicide and believing that it is a preventable form of death. And I know that's my belief. And it's something that we hope to continue to spread and share through the Yellow Rose campaign in hope and optimism.
And that's very, very empowering of the work that you guys are doing to help increase this awareness with the Yellow Rose campaign. And very sorry to hear about the personal loss with the fire department. And I do want to get into that a little bit because that is something, especially with working in an environment like fire, that can affect people's mental health. What are some of the leading causes that can affect firefighters' mental health, would you say?
Well, I think it's important to normalize the conversation that all jobs come with stress. And while we focus in the campaign about some of the nuance or the specifics of, dealing with the rescue and EMS and fire side of things, that the trauma, the lived trauma that those providers experience can be cumulative. And when we don't process and, address or deal with some of the issues that can come from rendering aid and maybe not having the outcome that the team desired, when we don't talk through and have professional help with that can start to build up, Jake. And that's when that cumulative stress can start to become very heavy on someone and thoughts of poor health or just poor emotional wellness, which can lead to poor relationships and this kind of domino effect that may put someone on a trajectory where they start to contemplate death by suicide. And that's ultimately what the campaign is about. If the intervention takes place at a very appropriate time and we normalize wellness, emotional fitness, like we do with our own health or with our finances, and think of it as a three-legged stool of emotional wellness, financial wellness, and physical wellness, that's really what will set someone up for a successful career, no matter where they are. But specifically with the Yellow Rose campaign here related to firefighters, that's the fire EMS side that we're addressing there.
And that's great that you are. For those just joining us on the Splash Live, we have Fire Chief Greg Flynn with the West Bloomfield Fire Department joining us to talk about the Yellow Rose campaign and the work that they are doing to help fight back some of the stigmas surrounding mental health and to help raise awareness for suicide prevention. Now, Chief Flynn, mental health care has become a lot more popular over the last few years. And would you say that there is an increase in these resources being used now that these discussions are starting to become a lot more normalized?
Well, there sure is a lot of attention on access to resources, and I think that that is only hopefully a positive for our mental health professionals to gain the recognition that they should have had all along for the important role that they play. You know, and Jake, I think it's important to realize that creating that relationship, just like you would with a physician early on in life with going in and getting your sports physicals and doing checkups along the way. We want to really encourage people to do the same thing with a mental health professional. You know, why is, you know, treating one's mind different than treating one's body or treating one's finances, just like you would meet as you prepare for retirement? You'd be preparing for the decades before that with a financial advisor, let's say. And having those regular check-ins when you're well, you know, that was a program that we started here called the Give 55 program in honor of Lieutenant Jeff Hiltner. And we say give 55. Would you give 55 minutes to a mental health professional? Would you have given 55 minutes to Jeff if it may have changed his trajectory? And the answer from our team was yes. And so now what we do is that 55 minutes or 1 hour appointment with a mental health professional, voluntary, once a year, no cost to the employee, to normalize the appointment, to normalize going in and talking to someone and to visit a mental health professional when you're well. You know, your first visits as a baby with a doctor were well visits, right? That's how we started off. Why wouldn't we want to start the same way with our mental health professionals and have a really positive relationship? Because even like with a physician, Jake, it's not that you're going to connect with the first provider that you meet with. So meeting when you're well is way better, and having that relationship. So if crisis starts to creep in, you have a real friend on the other side as a mental health professional.
That is absolutely right. Those relationships are very important. I've been in therapy myself for about 8.5, 9 years, and that relationship I have is very, very crucial and has helped me to become the person I am. So I totally understand it from that perspective. And it sounds like we're already starting to see these effects very positively in the community, wouldn't you say?
Oh, I believe so, and and thank you for sharing that with you, because I think it's when we share that we, people that are out talking about it and the positive experiences that we've had with mental health professionals. I think that brings that confidence and credibility to those individuals that are working very hard. Too often, the spotlight is shined upon the bad experience or the poor experience that someone may had, and I think it's important to realize that as the person on the other side, the person seeking help, we're often resistant, thinking that we have everything under control, that we're doing just fine. Just like we may feel that we have our weight under control or our fitness under control, but then slowly, as time goes on, farther and farther, the belt loops, the belt gets a little wider, or we get a little slower in our jogs. I think that we haven't really comprehended the emotional wellness and fitness that goes with life, and I think it's great that we're talking about it here, and I hope that people see, when the fire chief is saying that that's something that he takes advantage of or she takes advantage of, that goes down through the ranks and likewise out into the community. That's what your professional firefighters, your folks that are emergency responders are doing. You too can seek that assistance. And remember, it's not saying that you're broken or you're unwell necessarily. We want to encourage those regular visits so that you stay emotionally fit.
Absolutely. That is very important to stay emotionally fit. And where can people go to learn a little more info about the Yellow Rose campaign?
Well, right now, the campaign's website is hosted through the Michigan Association of Fire Chiefs. So mychiefs.org, and you'll see a link from the main landing page for the Michigan Association of Fire Chiefs. You'll see a link that'll take you to the Yellow Rose, where you can learn more about it. There's some informational videos that kind of summarize the campaign as well. And that rose, Jake, just so you know, the symbolism of the Yellow Rose. The rose itself speaks to the confidentiality of the importance of these conversations that take place. The yellow in it speaks of optimism and trust. But the rose is also very symbolic in the sense that the thorns along the stem really speak to some of the trials that we go through in life and the difficulties. But yet, when you get to the rose, how beautiful of a flower it is, and really understanding the value that each one of us, each one of you listening, bring to the loved ones around you and the community that you contribute to. And even when it's hard, that there are those that are ready to fill the gap. And that's what the yellow rose is saying. If I wear my yellow rose lapel pin is on, or you see a sticker or something with a yellow rose, that's an invitation to someone to say, I'll listen and help fill the gap so you can get to a mental health professional. I'm committed. There's no stigma with me. And so that symbolism is very important so that people know, hey, you have a yellow rose coin. You took that pledge that said you're willing to listen and be non-judgmental and help me find someone that can really help me sort out where I am right now. And that's what the campaign's all about.
Fire Chief Greg Flynn, we thank you so much for your time with us today on The Splash.
You bet. Thank you.
All great resources available via the Yellow Rose campaign, and some great resources to help those firefighters and to make sure that they get the help and assistance that they need. So lots of great stuff to look forward to here in the community. We got more stuff to get into right after this break. Live, local, social, it's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live. What people are watching in Orchard Lake, Civic Center TV, and 89.3 Lakes FM.
Hi, I'm Lauren Azuri, the Park Naturalist Supervisor for West Bloomfield Parks. Congratulations to you, Civic Center TV, for hitting 1 million views on YouTube. We really appreciate your partnership in spreading nature education in a creative way in our community. I'm Lauren Azuri, proud to be 1 in a million.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Two milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
The sad reality is, fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kids should know.
Find local municipal meetings at our program schedule on civiccentertv.com. Find when your meetings air live or when they're replaying on our Civic Center TV live stream. Find it all at civiccentertv.com and click schedule at the top of the screen. And now, back to The Splash, live.
Live, local, social, it's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm your host, Jake Schaff, going over all of the biggest news and events from right here in Greater West Bloomfield. One of the biggest things right now is that tonight there's going to be a great holiday party for the community. That party being the Not So White Elephant Party being put on by the West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce. And here to tell us more about this event and what it represents, we have the Executive Director of the Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce, Suzanne Levine, joining us on The Splash. Suzanne, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Really happy to have you with us and really interested in hearing about this holiday party. How great is it that, because this is the 9th year that this party has been going on, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. 9 years ago, I decided that although we are a small nonprofit, that there should be a way that we can give back to the community. So for 9 years, we have been looking and scouting for smaller, independent nonprofits that could benefit from having a party in their favor. And so we're so excited. It's a great event. And the reason it's a not so white elephant, a white elephant party, usually you bring a wrapped gift and people can exchange them. This one, we bring a gift and we sell raffle items, and then people can pick a gift and all the money goes directly to the charity. So it's such a great way to celebrate the holiday season. And we're so fortunate that Aurora Italian Restaurant is sponsoring this also. They do a great job for us. So it's just a win-win for everybody during this holiday season when we really need to give back to the community.
Interesting. And you're absolutely right. It is always a great time to give back. I loved hearing about the rules of this because we play White Elephant at our Christmas party every single year. So it's interesting the way you guys are doing it. But how great is it that the holiday season and this party are coming around again for this year?
It's just such a great opportunity for not only to network and party with our chamber members in the community, but also give back to a very worthwhile charity, Sandcastles Grief Support. Henry Ford Sandcastles Grief and Support for families and children and families. And it's really, we know there are a lot of people during this holiday season that, it's a very difficult time for them because maybe they've lost someone they love. Maybe maybe their pocketbook is not as full as they want it to be. So it's just a great way to celebrate all of us, and we made it. And looking forward to 2025. And every year, it's another interesting charity that most people don't even know exists. We know about the larger ones, but these are smaller ones that people have no idea. And so it's a great way to introduce the community to different ways to give back, whether they volunteer or they give, through their wallet.
You're absolutely right. And it's great that you guys are doing all of this great work with these local charities. I do want to talk a little bit more about Henry Ford Sandcastles. How did that relationship come to be? And what has it been like to really help highlight and promote these other great charities?
Well, Henry Ford West Bloomfield Hospital is one of our biggest sponsors, and the grief support contacted me. They wanted to join the chamber, so they've been very active because we know that the best way for people to get to know your business, your organization, is to attend meetings. And so that's why networking is so important. I do not believe you will ever be able to replace that one-on-one connection. You can send out flyers and e-blasts. You can do all of that as an adjunct, but I really believe the most important thing is for people to get to know you, and you are the best, representative of your business, and let people know what you do and how worthwhile it is and how you can hopefully change a life. I mean, these are children that really need support, and the families. They've gone through some devastating loss. And we know that sometimes it takes a long time to even stop feeling this very acute pain. I know for me too, I've lost my parents. It's been a long time, but you never really get over it. It's just that the pain dulls a little bit. And so to have support of other people that have gone through similar situations and hear their stories and know that there is this great organization that supports, people that are grieving, it's, we all need someone to be able to lean on, to talk to listen, to validate our feelings. So that's why I'm so excited to partner with them this year.
Suzanne Levine with the Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce is joining us on the Splash Live today to talk about the upcoming Not So White Elephant holiday party and the work that the Commerce is doing with local charities to benefit the community. And Suzanne, I want to go into a little more about the community side of things. How has the community come out to support this event? And what have you seen from the community during parties like these?
It is so amazing because the community, first of all, wants to network during this holiday season and connect. But what has been great, like, for example, last year we did the Gary Bernstein Health Clinic that most people are totally unaware of. It's a free health clinic where they offer free medical, dental, some pharmaceutical aid also. And what's great is if a person can't even drive there, they will make sure that they can pay for an Uber. So people didn't know about this organization, and we raised a lot of money for them. But for them, it was even more important to get the community invested, to know that maybe they're too embarrassed to say that they can't afford medical or dental health. Well, here's an organization that donates their services for free. They have U of M dental students that are on the premises, and they have doctors. It's such an amazing organization, and most of the community was unaware of it. So I think that's the most important thing, is letting the community be aware of these smaller organizations that might not have the resources to let everyone know what they're about and how they are there to serve the community. Of course, there's so many worthwhile charities. I mean, I could have probably an event every single day to benefit someone. But, I'm trying to pick ones that are lesser well known to give them the exposure and hopefully get volunteers or much needed, money, because we know when the economy is not great, people tend to hold back because they're the ones that are in need. But even if people can only just give $1, I think that's an amazing thing. Just make sure that we support our charities and our nonprofits the best to our ability.
I'm so glad you mentioned volunteering, because I am curious, how can the community volunteer their time and their services to the Commerce and to an event like this?
Well, I think the best way is to, reach out to us and see, what organizations are in need. But also, if they just Google nonprofit organizations, and if there's something that speaks to them, maybe they have a family member that unfortunately has Alzheimer's or is suffering from cancer, or from, maybe they have these grief issues, reaching out to these organizations and saying, how can I help? Maybe it's just stuffing envelopes. Maybe it's actually going out into different businesses and handing out brochures and talking about the organization and what they need. So there's all different ways. Maybe there's a canister that they can put in a business, especially during this time. We know we have, the bell ringers at the Salvation Army, et cetera, at some of the, larger, like a Walmart, et cetera. But maybe there's just a canister they can put in, that people don't even know that this organization exists. So I think it's really important during this time. Everyone can give back in a way that is appropriate for them, but certainly, thinking about your fellow human, about your fellow neighbor, about people that might not be talking about the things that they need because they're too embarrassed. There are organizations out there that can help you.
That's great to hear, and that's great to hear of everything that you're doing to help these organizations. And I want to go back to the actual party itself, the Not So White Elephant Party that's taking place on December 3rd. You did mention the actual white elephant, or not so white elephant, thing that's going to be taking place. What other events will be there, or what other opportunities will be there for the community at this event?
Well, it's a great opportunity because we'll talk about some of our upcoming events, like our installation of Board of Officers that's coming up in January at Connect. And I find it really interesting because there are people that have never connected before. And I always tell people, bring business cards. You can bring your brochures. You can hand them out. And, connect with one another, because this is, a convivial occasion. People are more relaxed. So it's not like a high pressure situation where you have to talk about your business, but it's a really wonderful, relaxed event where people know that they're coming together for a great charity and, want to do business. It's like a very relaxed atmosphere. And what's so fun is, we sell raffle tickets, and when we call their number, they can pick any wrapped gift. So it's always interesting to see the psychology of how people decide to pick what gift they want. And then all the money just goes right to that charity that evening. So, and they can also, I believe the charity will also have a way to make an online donation. So it's just a really fun, relaxed time to celebrate that we all survived this year, that we're all here to support one another, because that's what the Chamber is all about, supporting our community and support one another. And really, the more that you can connect with another business and maybe promote them, I'm sure there are ways that we haven't even thought of, that two businesses can come together to support one another that doesn't cost them any money. Maybe it's just having business cards, in their business. Maybe it's having a canister. Maybe it's just having an event at their establishment. So, we're looking forward to 2025 and trying to do more of these really fun events where people can network and hopefully get business, from one another.
Suzanne, great to hear about all these incredible projects, and really interested to hear what's going to be coming up in the brand new year. One more quick question before I let you go. Where can people go to get a little bit more information about what to expect with this event?
Well, they can either go to our website, westbloomfieldchamber.com. They can contact me at wbloomfieldchamber@gmail.com. And I'm always happy to answer questions, 248-626-3636. And the interesting thing is, I'm not really sure why, but I guess when people Google West Bloomfield, we come up, and I do answer questions that are totally unrelated to the chamber. People ask me how to pay their taxes. I'd love to accept the money, but, so we're a great a source of information for people. If I don't have the answer, then I always try to direct them to a source that can. And thank you again for all that you do at Civic Center TV, covering these events, interviewing people to let the community know about all our great resources that we offer that unfortunately people are just unaware and they don't really know how to get the direction they need.
Well, thank you so much, Suzanne, and we appreciate everything that you do as well. Suzanne Levine with the Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce, we thank you so much for your time today.
And thank you again.
Great to hear of everything that the Chamber of Commerce is doing and for putting together this great event that will be taking place tonight, December 3rd. And lots of great things to look forward to. And a lot of people are coming out to support the event, including people with Henry Ford Sandcastle's Grief Program. And here to tell us more about their side of things, we have the program manager for the Sandcastle's Grief Support System, Peggy Nielsen, joining us today on The Splash. Peggy, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Really happy to have you with us and interested to hear about the Sandcastles Grief Program a little bit more. What services does Sandcastles provide for the general public?
Yeah, we serve families with children between the ages of 3 and 18 who've experienced the death of someone loved. So it can be a parent, a sibling, a grandparent, a friend, and they can have died from any cause. We have a lot of, unfortunately, cancer deaths and heart attacks, but also a lot of, homicides and suicides and accidents, any cause. And we provide a safe space for these kids to come and these families to really walk that grief process, which is kind of something most people don't want to talk about. But when the need is there, it is a vital service to have.
That's right. It's not something people want to get into until that moment unfortunately comes. And I would imagine around a time like this, especially around the holidays, things like this become a little more serious and there's probably a bit more other factors that you have to address in these conversations, I would think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Research shows that 1 in 11 kids will experience the death of a parent or sibling before they turn the age of 18. And that's only a parent or sibling. So that's about 60% of the families that are in the program. And the other 40% are different relationships. And when you are grieving this path, a lot of times these kids feel very alone. And it's not really safe to talk about it. People don't know what to say to someone who's grieving. And so it creates some alienation. So at the holidays, that makes it even worse, right? Because now we have these big events that are fun and huge for families to go to, and expectations and just so much work, even if you're not grieving. The holidays can be a lot of work, fun and a lot of work. But when you've lost someone very significant in your family and now you're working towards, how do I do this without this person? It is a very hard question, and everyone's grief is unique, and we want to honor that and support families to figure out what's going to work for them, where we're remembering the person who has died, but also figuring out a way to move forward without them. It can be really difficult during the holidays, especially.
Well, it's great that you guys are providing those resources to help those families. And I want to talk a little more about your role with helping out the people of West Bloomfield, especially in assisting with events like the one taking place tonight. Could you talk about that a bit more?
Yeah, so we have a program site in partnership with Covenant Baptist Church on Maple, and they have been amazing. We have been there for years. They have been supportive of our program and offering these services to the community at large. And it is open to anyone in the community. It is also, we are a nonprofit. We're a division of Henry Ford Hospice, but we also have to fundraise our whole budget to keep our doors open. So we really work we have so much appreciate these community partnerships where people will come and help us to raise money. One of our staff, Leah Bengal, is actually a resident of West Bloomfield and is a member of the chamber. And so it's a great partnership and a great opportunity to reach people in the community with services that they may not know are there, but are really important to have.
They certainly are. For those just joining us on the Splash Live, we have Peggy Nielsen joining us, the program manager from the Sandcastles Grief Support System with Henry Ford, talking about their role in the community in helping out with certain events all around Greater West Bloomfield. And I also want to talk about, because you've talked about helping out with the community, but also your relationship with the Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce. How did that come to be?
Actually, we, us being kind of like a really small department, really trying to reach out to the community. And as I spoke, people don't really want to talk about grief. So we're kind of really want to put ourselves out there and reach out. And so Leah, when she joined our team, actually decided that this was a great way to get inside of the community and to reach and meet more people inside of West Bloomfield to be able to spread the word. So she was actually the one who joined and got involved and was really happy to be able to participate, learn more about other services that we could, share with our families and things like that. So it's a wonderful organization to be part of and really helps, I think, the community at large to learn about existing resources that are there to be able to help someone. Because, I mean, we always hope that no one needs sandcastles, but the reality and the statistics show. And what's the one thing that unfortunately we're all kind of guaranteed is that sometime we're going to die in life. And because people love us or because we love other people who are experiencing these things and who are dying, that's what grief is that grief is really love when it's lost, right? So when we love someone and we lose that person to death or any other cause, we're going to grieve that loss. And it is a vital resource to be able to really grieve that process in a healthy way with the resources around you. It can make all the difference in kind of the trajectory of a child's life. If you don't have the opportunity to talk about grief and it gets shoved down, you see, involvement in the judicial system, kids get in trouble in school, grades going down, health issues, stomachache, headaches. Kids aren't staying in school because they get there and they get overwhelmed and they can't handle it and they go home. So there's so many negative consequences to unresolved grief, and we want to erase those. We are here to provide a space to the families in the community who are in need to come together with others who are working that same path, that same grief path. It helps to normalize what they're going through. We talk about what grief is and teach coping skills and really help them to heal on that journey.
Well, that's all great things to hear. And Peggy, we really appreciate your time on the program today to talk about what Sandcastles does for the community. Peggy Nielsen, the Sandcastles Grief Support System Program Manager, we thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely glad to have you with us too, and great resources for the entire community, and we thank them for all the help they do around West Bloomfield. We're going to take another quick short break and get into more stuff right after this. Live, local, social, it's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live. This is Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. On cable and the radio. On the web too, and on social media. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
Good nutrition can help make sure you have enough iron, calcium, and vitamin C in your body, which can make it harder for lead to enter your bloodstream. Help protect your family from the harmful effects of lead.
what people are watching in Sylvan Lake. Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
Carefully managed and sustainable forests are essential to Michigan, so wildlife has a home. Birds will thrive. Fish in our lakes and streams can enjoy clean water, and so all the people of Michigan can enjoy the benefits of the forest too. In fact, every branch of forestry ensures that future generations will always have a tree for life and forests for a lifetime. To learn how sustainable forestry benefits your life, visit michigan.gov/forests for a lifetime.
Hi, I'm Chris Fry, Park Superintendent, West Bloomfield Parks. Congratulations, Civic Center TV, on 1 million views on YouTube. Thank you for all you do in the community, and thank you for having me on The Splash throughout the season to talk about activities out in the parks. Chris Fry, proud to be 1 in a million.
And now, back to The Splash, live.
Live, local, social, it's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm your host, Jake Schaff, going over all of the biggest news and events from right here in Greater West Bloomfield. Today is Giving Tuesday, and on this Giving Tuesday, there are plenty of ways to give back and help your neighbors with Greater West Bloomfield nonprofits. Here's just a few great examples making a push for donations and volunteers at this time. With the Optimist Club of West Bloomfield, they are partnering with the West Bloomfield School District and the Jacket Club of Keego Harbor, providing meals and winter gear to local families before the winter break and the holidays, with the Holiday Happiness Drive running a fundraising seeking up to $15,000. For more information on the donation drive and ways to get involved, you can check that out on their Facebook at West Bloomfield Optimist to find more ways to give back and to help out and to help them reach their $15,000 goal. There's also programs with the Greater West Bloomfield Community Coalition. They are seeking donations to support many programs for prevention and intervention with local youth, including drug and alcohol prevention, mental health support, anti-bullying campaigns, internet safety, and more. Plus, plenty of forums for parents and kids all year round. For more information on those programs and to donate, you can visit gwbcoalition.org to help give back to that cause. So plenty of great resources and plenty of great outlets to be helping the people of West Bloomfield and to help make sure all of these kids are safe, happy, and that they have a merry holiday season. Speaking of merry holiday season, the Christmas Cookie Exchange is going to be taking place this week. Plan on baking your favorite Christmas cookies to exchange with your local neighbors. This is going to be taking place at 2998 Knowlton Street in Keego Harbor, and they'll be hosting a great Christmas cookie exchange for the entire community. A great chance to get out, meet some folks, make some new connections, and to enjoy some tasty holiday treats all day long. And this is going to be on December 7th, this Saturday from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. And if you want to RSVP for this event, you can email OtterBeach334. That's Otter like the animal, O-T-T-E-R, Beach, B-E-A-C-H, 334 at gmail.com to RSVP for the event. But that is sure to be a very tasty event for the entire community. I can't wait. They're all going to enjoy that. And around the holidays, it's important to stay safe and to know how to verify certain employees, especially DTE employees. DTE Energy is reminding customers to stay cautious when someone claiming to be a DTE employee visits their home. Always verify their identity by asking to see an official badge and confirming their purpose for being there. If you're unsure, you can call DTE directly at 800-477-4747 to confirm the visit. Remember, DTE typically notifies customers in advance through mail, phone, or email before their routine visits. Keep your door locked, and if necessary, speak only through a secure screen door. If the person refuses to show their badge, do not let them in and contact DTE immediately. Stay informed and stay safe. And you can check out some more of these details on the West Bloomfield Police Department Facebook page at West Bloomfield PD. But sure, great resources and all great resources all throughout today's show and beyond, as you can check them out on Civic Center TV's website. If you're watching on Civic Center TV right now, you can scan the QR code on our screen to be taken directly to the website to see all of our recent interviews and to stay informed on the current events right here in the community. And if you're listening on 98.3 or 89.3, you can go to civiccentertv.com. But lots of great stuff around here in the community. But that is going to do it for us today on The Splash Live. Big thank you to Kevin McIntosh for his work out in the field and Calvin Brown at Master Control. I've been your host, Jake Schaff, live, local, social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.